Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this information session on rooted leadership. It is an integrated attachment series for professional growth. In the realm of management training, this is one of the most impactful trainings that you will take. So, we'll spend a few minutes talking a little bit about Lauren and myself and introduce ourselves to you, and then we'll get into talking a little bit about the program itself and some program details and specifics. So, I am Shirlene Wilson, and I'm here with Dr. Lauren Van Kunit, who is my colleague. And together, we bring over 50 years of combined experience in higher education, corporate leadership, organizational change, and executive coaching. What unites our work is a commitment to helping leaders grow not just in skill, but in presence, because leadership today demands more than technical expertise. So we're really excited about this program and excited to introduce you to Rooted Leadership. This is the first of its kind program that blends leadership development and attachment theory. It provides you the tools to help you as leaders regulate stress, navigate conflict, build trust, and create cultures of belonging. As you know, many organizations are facing real challenges today: burnout, turnover, disengagement, gaps in leadership, in the leadership pipeline. What we want to be able to do is to bring to you a program that addresses some of those issues. So for the next few minutes, we'll talk about that. I'm going to turn it over to Lauren Van Kunit, Dr. Van Kunit, who will talk to you a little bit more about the specifics.
Thank you so much, Shirlene. Really, at its core, this is an advanced emotional intelligence leadership program that teaches individuals how to understand theirs and others' emotions and manage relationships more effectively in the workplace. This program provides insights and tools to help leaders regulate stress, navigate conflict, build trust, and create cultures of belonging. Through this series, individuals will learn their own and others' attachment theory and awareness, how to regulate their emotion and stress management, how to build very effective relationship skills by understanding their style and others, and how to meet those style differences, create more inclusive workplaces, and ultimately have organizational outcomes that include greater retention, collaboration, resilience, and most of all, trust.
So we've mentioned a couple of times a few things that I think are interesting. We talked about the real challenge of navigating conflict and fostering trust and sustaining engagement and preventing burnout, right? And there are a myriad of different ways that you can approach these things in the workplace. But we're hearing from across many, many disciplines, from people working in the education system, people working in behavioral health, people working in social work and legal situations, that the burnout levels are higher than ever, and that there's a stuckness there. So what we've come to the conclusion is that the technical skills that we have all amassed in our programs are not enough, that leaders often lack a relational capacity to be able to deal with high stress, high conflict environments, and particularly when people are really overstretched and really feel experiencing burnout. Some of the things we're hearing are things like disengagement, turnover, burnout, missed collaboration opportunities, right? And so as we've completed our studies and credentialing around this topic, we've seen that there are a lot of solutions and answers and skill building that comes from the attachment theory space that we think are very, very well tuned for the workplace workforce environment. We're seeing so much such a decrease in satisfaction, that what we've experienced when people apply some of these concepts is an increase in satisfaction, an increase in collaboration, an increase in job satisfaction. And that is why we think some of these programs really do address today's workplace challenges.
So moving into some of the evidence of need, there is plenty, and I'm sure that individuals can even think within their own work histories and experiences on where some times where they maybe didn't have quite the understanding of themselves and their relationship to others. And this here is just a highlight of some of the evidence of needs that we see within the workplace. But most of all, what we see is that leaders and individuals who cannot manage relationship dynamics and boundaries effectively in the workplace often increase those issues, both within themselves and for others. And self-compassion is a really big piece of what we teach in this program as well, and how to manage those dynamics in a very effective and prompt way as well. Looking at some of the evidence of need, the American Psychological Association reports that 77% of employees report issues of trust that are impacting their engagement and retention in the day-to-day workplace. Gallup reports that only 23 of employees actually are engaged, and that trust is often the missing link. Attachment-informed leadership directly targets this trust gap. Deloitte reports that inclusion drives about 80% of retention in the workplace, and those that have the ability to manage relationships effectively and maintain and build that trust are more likely to stay and contribute at higher levels. Finally, we know that there are significant differences that Shoreline will talk about a bit more between the different generations that exist in the workplace today. And being able to understand those differences, to honor them, to create a place of well-being and belonging really is a non-negotiable for leaders. And this program directly addresses those gaps with applied research-backed tools.
Thank you, Dr. Van Kunit. I couldn't agree more. When we talk about bridging the gap, what we're talking about is not just making those deeper connections from a relationship perspective. We're talking about cross generationally, right? So a lot of times I think we think about, difference in the workplace as being maybe difference across culture or um, different across thinking styles or learning styles, but this goes deeper because it also is cross generations, right? And and when we think about what each generation may be looking for and needing, this is a good opportunity for us to figure out another way to bridge those gaps. So we see these buckets of people, younger employees and millennials, Gen Z tend to prioritize needing more empathy, needing more inclusion, needing more purpose, being seen, flexibility in the workplace, work-life balance becomes a huge priority. They value that psychological safety, social impact, and supportive leadership. Older generations, Gen Z and boomers, myself and people a little the generation before mine, often prioritize stability, job security, recognition for experience, and respect for expertise. They might also place higher value on clear hierarchies, professional credibility, and structured career progression. So, what rooted leadership is set up to do is to equip leaders to be able to bridge those differences, to build cultures of belonging and strengthen retention and resilience in the workplace. The amount of change that's happening in the workplace now is just exacerbated by technology, artificial intelligence, different learning styles, and all of this kind of overlap as the older generations transition out and the newer generations come in to a new workplace reality. And so Lauren will take over and talk a little bit more about the specifics of the program.
Thank you, Shirlane. Yes, so this program will take place over 7 monthly sessions on Saturdays. We expect to be together for a full day for the start off in January, and then a second session in January. And then we'll move to monthly sessions from 9 a.m. till noon. Individuals who complete this program will earn 4 graduate level credits that are transcribed through Pacific Lutheran University. And we really highly encourage this program to be done in pairs or small groups within the workplace. Individual participants are welcome, but what we find is that cultures change when there's a vernacular and there's a shared understanding of the learning that's taking place so that it can be funneled to others as well. This is really where the root of organizational change, emotional intelligence, and leadership development takes place. The program cost is $2,000 per participant for all 7 sessions, and the program structure blends many lectures, case studies, panel, group discussions, and a lot of tools and practice over those sessions. The key outcomes that we're really proud that participants walk away with include identifying your own attachment style as well as understanding others and understanding the leadership impact within interactions of those different attachment styles. Participants will walk away with increased skills for emotional regulation and understanding, which ultimately create better decisions, less reactivity, and stronger trust in relationships in the workplace. Participants will learn how to strengthen their boundaries, to understand how to receive and provide effective feedback in a way that really bridges the gap of relationships, and also trust building in terms of how to really build trust, what are the core pillars of trust, and what does that look like in practice in your relationships. The program will accumulate with some case studies or a capstone experience and a lot of exposure to diverse speakers that will come in and share their stories of what this has done for them in the workplace. This is a very rigorous and deep program, not for the faint of heart, but leaders will walk away with tools that they can use right away on Monday morning in the workplace, and they will never be the same again. So the next steps, we do encourage individuals to reach out with any questions. We will be starting the program in January of 2025. As we shared, it will be a full day retreat for the first session. We will be enrolling no more than 25 participants since this is a very high touch involved program. And registration, we encourage you to not delay. We'll close registration around the December 14th. And we are very excited to offer this program, the first of its kind in Washington State. And we hope that you will reach out with any questions, and we hope to see you there.